Welcome back, guys, to another video. Earlier, I was trying to do I was doing a live, and my wife had an emergency. Her car just wouldn't start. She was at the grocery store, so I had to help her handle some business there. So I had to get off that live. But the live that I was doing was predicated on Coach Prime and the press conference that he had on July the 10th. And I wanted to give my analysis on it, so I'm going to just do it now, but without showing you guys the video. I do remember some of the things that he said that resonated with me, and I wanted to talk about. He was asked about one of the questions that he was asked toward the beginning was his obligation to coach at a high level. And that question is sort of like a no-brainer. Like, what coach doesn't want to coach on a high level? But I guess they asked that too towards Coach Prime, and he answered it. He says, and the way he answered the question was very, very, very Coach Prime-esque. It's exactly what I expected from Coach Prime. He says, look, that's what I do this for. I do this to coach at a high level. And he also talked about how he's judged by a different standard, and I agree with that. I do think that he's judged by a different standard, but I think just being a black man or being a melanated person on this planet, we're not judged by a high standard. We hold a high standard to ourselves. That's the difference between the N-words, the N-I-G-G-E-Rs, and the normal black people. There's a difference. Even within our own race, you have some ignorance that I consider the N-I-G-G-E-R. They act like the N-word. And they're the ones that give the hardworking ones, the intelligent ones, the ones that are not lazy, they give us the bad name. But I think that it's just by default. It's like automatic. It's automatic that we have high standards for ourselves. The high standards that we have for ourselves is not brought on by a white metric. It's not brought forth by the European standard. Now, the European has done a clever job of making it seem as if we need them, as if we are the second-class citizens, and we all know that nothing could be further from the truth. Most of the things that were owned in this land, on this planet, were owned by people of color, people that of darker hue, people of high degree of melanin. We all know that the progenitors of civilizations and the progenitors of the human race came from the melanated genome, the melanated biochemical construct. So there will be no European without the black man first. So let's get that started. So I don't need, and that's why I like the answer that Coach Prime gave. He says, look, I hold myself to a high standard. I don't care about what you guys think. And I know when he said that, it sort of may rub people the wrong way who already have a disposition of angst against Prime. So in other words, if you hate Prime, that's ammunition for you to say, see, he's arrogant. He doesn't care about what people think. It's not that he doesn't care about what people think. It's that what he thinks matters more. And he also mentioned that in the press conference. He says, look, what I think about myself is what matters to me. I don't care about what other people think. I really don't care about what other people think. And of course, when he said that, I can feel the people who do not like Prime say he's arrogant. This is why he's not going to coach well. But I didn't take it that way. Because me myself, I can't be disingenuous and all of a sudden get on YouTube and start saying things that I don't believe in. I believe what he's saying is what I believe in. I don't, like, even when I go to work, without anything that I do, I used to tell my mom this, because my mom was always big on how things look to other people. I don't really give a damn about how what I do looks to other people, as long as it looks good to me. Now, if what I'm doing is hurting somebody else, if what I'm doing is causing harm to somebody else, then of course you have to be cognizant of that and be aware. But if I'm not doing anything to hurt somebody, then I don't give a damn what you think, because you're not the one that's taking care of me. I'm taking care of myself. You don't work my job for me. What I eat is what I shit out. What I eat doesn't make you shit. We're not, it doesn't, I don't care what you think. So you have to be confident in your own skin. And I think that's where the confidence of Coach Prime sort of rubs people the wrong way, because they expect him to kind of tote that line of being, very, very, very docile as a black man. But a lot of the times I see white coaches get on there and speak very, very, charismatically, and nothing is said of it. But I think when a black person does it, it's taken to a higher extreme. But when someone has a lot of power, there's a lot of responsibility that comes with that. It goes like that Spider-Man movie, with much whom is given, much is expected, something to that effect. And I think that just being black, and I hate using the term black, as you guys know, but I'm just using it for the sake of this conversation. Because if I keep saying melanated, you guys some people may be like, why do you keep saying melanated? But you guys want to call yourselves black. I don't like to call myself black, because black means non-existent. It means that you're not important. It means death. It means extinct. There's a lot of connotations that are not positive that are attached to the term black. So I don't like calling myself black, because literally I'm not black. My skin is not black, But anyway, so just that being melanated, as a melanated person, I think it's in us. We are wired that way. We are wired to operate at a high standard, and we rate ourselves very, very, we're very critical of our own selves. We're never satisfied, and that's just the way we are. And that's why it's very common for people in our own community to critique us, because we're natural critiquers. It's not that black people bringing another black man down. It's not that. When it's done, now it could be done with ill motive. There's certain people out there that want to bring you down, and they have the intent to do so. But I don't think that every criticism needs to be labeled as being hateful, or you being a person that's trying to bring somebody down. I've been on here making videos about Coach Prime, and I've said certain things that weren't favorable to some people, and people would take that and say, you're hating. No, I'm not saying anything hateful towards the man, Coach Prime. I'm criticizing or making a critique or making an analysis upon what I see. And it's my opinion. It doesn't mean that my opinion is gospel. It doesn't mean that my opinion can't be critiqued, because you can critique my opinion, but critique my opinion with content. Don't name call, because name calling is escapism. It's a quick way to escape the art of actual having a public discourse about a particular content. So if you don't want to have a discourse about a particular content, the easiest thing to do is just, hey, call somebody a name, so I can just escape the possibility of engaging somebody in a conversation. I could just throw names out there and move off of an emotional vantage point or an emotional state. We have to try hard not to be too emotional. See, I can be critical of Coach Prime, but I can also be celebratory of Coach Prime if he says something that I agree with. It's based upon my perspective. All right. So being critical of somebody doesn't equate to hate. So I have a mind that's objective enough to, based upon my experiences and based upon my personal upbringing and based upon the things that I've experienced in my life, I imbue upon the audience an opinion or a thought of coming from me, my personal take. And your personal take can be different, but at least have a take. Calling somebody a hater is not a take. It's just an easier way. It's just it's an easy way to escape confrontation. I believe it is, because if you call somebody a hater, then there's no need to talk anymore, because you're deeming that you're essentially saying that everything that person is talking about is coming from a hateful place, and you know what's in that person's heart. So in other words, you're playing God. But I'm going to tell you why the quote-unquote black community is very critical of one another, because it's in our DNA, it's in our genetics. It's not called hating. Not if you're being critical from your own perspective. And I think that when you allow criticism to come your way and you embrace the criticism and you can counter the criticism with something else rather than taking it personal, that's the only way we can grow as a unit, as a unity, as a community. All right, just like when people live in a community, they live together and they operate off of shared values and shared goals and shared visions of what they perceive, of what they want the end game to manifest, of what they want the end game to actually become. So it's very easy to get emotional and get wrapped up in your emotions and forget what's being done. Everyone who is critical does not mean that you are a hater. So when Coach Prime said that I don't care about what people think, I can see how people who already have a disposition of hate toward Coach Prime will use that as ammunition to say, oh, he's arrogant. Look at him. He doesn't care about what people think. No, he hears what people say. But when he goes to bed at night, whatever standards you have for him, your standards or your expectations of him would never oversee his own expectations for himself. There's a difference. See, somebody could expect something from me, but whatever you expect from me, I have a higher system. I'm operating on a higher frequency than you are. You're down here, I'm up here. I'm not going to play in the mud with you. I don't think that's arrogance or that's overconfidence. I just think that's a person that knows themselves, they're secure in themselves, and they know they have a goal and a mission. And he feels that his mission is from God, and people use God all the time. And you guys know what I feel about the God thing. I feel like we all are miniature gods in a sense, because we generate and we organize and we dispense the constructs of our own reality, right? We are the ones that create our own reality based upon our individual perceptions. So how you think is how you are. You have the power to do something about your life. It's not you wait for something external outside of you to come in and help you. It's more so you have the mechanisms within you to do it if you tap into it, if you believe in yourself. But if you don't believe in yourself and you think that you're nothing, that you think you're destined for hell, and you think that you're a sinner, that you think that you're wretched, then you're always going to act like a prisoner or a beggar, raising your hand for something outside of you to help you. There's nothing outside of you to help you, but what's inside of you to help you. All right? So whenever you make a decision, it's because you're using your brain. You're using what you have to help you. Everything you do, you're not waiting for something to dictate to you what you're going to do. Okay? And there are certain things that comes outside the norms of normal thinking that we can't grasp. That does not mean that you still have to wait for something external. You still keep operating within your locus of control and empower yourself continually to be the best version of yourself. And everything over time will come to fruition as it's supposed to be. And that's where you get fate from. Not faith, but fate. Fate. All right? So I liked what Coach Prime said in that press conference. He also talked about him patting himself. He also talked about him patting himself on the back or something like that. But he said, look, I have to do it sometimes because most people don't do it for him. And that part there, I was like, I don't like when Coach Prime plays the victim card. Like, people are, he's okay. He is not a victim. He's not a predator either. He's not a perpetrator. But I don't like when men who have high status, who are well off financially and popular and famous, play that card, because we all know that criticism is par for the course when you have that caliber of notoriety that's surrounding your name. You know that there's going to be a high degree of a lot of people who enjoy you and a lot of people who are grateful for you. Then you're going to have a small amount of people who do not like you, all right, or people that you guys want to consider haters. So I don't think that he should say that, oh, there are people out, no one gives me credit. No, people, trust me, there are a lot of people who are Coach Prime fans. They're Coach Prime fanatics. I'm not one of them. I'm not a fanatic, but I am rooting for him. I would never sit here and say I want him to fail. That's evil. That's diabolical. I do not want anybody to fail. Even if somebody's my enemy, I still wouldn't root for you to fail, because I don't want that karma coming back on me. All right? So I liked the press conference. I liked how he answered the questions. I think that he was very, very intentional in the way he answered the questions. And I think he's on a mission this year. That me against the world mentality that he carries on his shoulder, I think that's needed for him, even though the world is not really against him. But sometimes that's what we do as melanated people. We have to carry that theme of us against the world, that we always have to overexceed and go over beyond what's expected, not to please anybody, but in order to make ourselves feel that we are in our rightful place. So with that being said, man, that's all I have to say. I mean, the live that I was going to do is going to be much longer than this, obviously, but because I was going to be showing the interview and giving you guys my live analysis based upon the press conference, but I did not do that. So leave a comment to me what you guys think. I think I liked his answers, and he also mentioned how the reason why he gets on the podium or whatever, and when he's giving out his answer, he says, look, why do you think I'm held to a different standard? He said, why do you think I'm naming all the accomplishments of the students about how well they're doing academically, and you know, who's improved academically and who's going to class. Why do you think I mentioned that? Because it's not enough for me to win games. I have to do more. It's bigger than just football. I like that answer. I loved that answer because he's giving you a method to his so-called madness. A lot of people would say that that's just for show, that when he's mentioning that stuff, but who are we to read his heart? I'm not a heart reader. All I can do is read your intentions based upon your actions. Your actions tells me your intentions. And if you can fake me out with your actions, then you're just a good actor. I give it to you. But you're not going to fool me too many times. Because usually when people are fake, their actions will overwhelm their fakeness. Meaning that you can only fake the funk for so much and your trueness comes out and people start to see the real character when things hit the fan. When you go through the season and you're facing adversity and you're losing games, or you're going through a tough time, maybe someone that's a pivotal player on the team gets hurt and you're getting these hard questions from the reporters, a person's true character comes out when times are rough. In a time of high intense situations, that's when you actually can see the real character of a person come out. In that time, it doesn't mean that's who they really are, but in that moment you get to see how they act. And you rate a person based upon how they act in high intense situations. That's the best time to, because you can't rate a person when everything's going well, because you can be easily fooled by that. But you can tell the true character of a person about how they act in tumultuous situations. So I like the way he answered the questions, because he says, look, you know, it's more than just winning games. I could win 8-9 games. He said, if I win 8-9 games or 10 games, if I have football players that are going to jail, or if I have football players that are not graduating, if I have football players that are not going to class, like, I'm not doing my job. So he's looking at his responsibility as a coach in Colorado bigger than just football. He's looking at the whole thing because he's coming from a lens of a father. Now, there are some people out there that are going to say he doesn't give a damn about other kids. All he cares about is his own kids. Maybe at some point he was like that. But I think as we've all done, we all should be given the grace to evolve. The way I was 6 years ago is not the way that I am now. And maybe as his sons are growing, as he's getting to be an older man, maybe he's starting to look at other children like they're his own kids. You know, there's every man, every father, every parent has within their own right to be selfish about their own, to look out for their own kids first. But I think that he's starting to see the bigger picture. Now, I could be wrong, but based upon the press conference that he gave July 10th, that's what I'm gleaning from that. That's what I'm gathering from that. That's what I can extrapolate from that. I can see that the man is on a mission. And winning games is important to him. It is. But having the kids be successful is equally as important. And he understands the mission. He's there to build well-rounded men, not just to get you to the NFL and football. See, I've never been in the locker room of Coach Prime. I hear people say some things about him that are not too positive. I hear some things that he's not about this, he's not about that. I even heard those two kids that came on Jason Whitlock's show, ex-players, that talked about how he was very dismissive of players. He's not very welcoming. That's what I hear. And I made my analysis off of that as well. But also I have to be very, very fair and hear Coach Prime speak and take what he's saying and then dissect that as well. Even if what he is saying is contrary to what other people are saying. Because it's not my place to say, oh man, he's a fake or a fraud. I don't know that. All I can do is go off what he's telling me. And go off, and then there are going to be other things that are going to happen during the season that's going to let me know if he's for real or not. But the season hasn't started. We're going to see how that goes. But then again, just stay tuned. I'll be making more videos about Coach Prime as time goes on. I don't do a lot of videos about him because I don't want my channel to be about Coach Prime, because it's really not. My channel is a reflection of me. The things that I'm interested in is what you guys are going to hear. Whether it's about, you know, conspiracy theories, fake weather formations, giving lectures on my channel about melanin and epigenetics and radio frequencies and electromagnetic waves, whatever it is, whatever I'm talking about, are things that I'm interested in. So my channel is a reflection of me. I'm not going to sell my soul, because a lot of the times when I do videos about Prime, I get more views on that. And I could easily just shut everything down and just do Prime stuff all the time. But I have to speak from here, my soul. And it has to come from my heart. And what I saw today, even though the press conference happened on July 10th, I just randomly saw it on my feed. I said, wow, let me listen to him, see what he has to say. And when he spoke, I said, you know what, I'm going to make a video about that because I like what he's saying. And if I hated what he was saying, I will also make a video about that too, because hate and love are passions on the extreme. There's still things that draw passion from people, because hate comes from a place of passion, and love comes from a place of passion as well, because it's all deeply inside the person. They just operate on opposite ends, on opposite extremes. Okay, so that's my take, guys, and stay tuned. Leave a comment. Tell me what you guys think of the press conference if you did not watch it. It happened July 10th, and yeah, just leave a comment. Tell me what you guys think. Till next time. All right, take care. All right, peace.